Welcome to the Saul's Newsstand News Rewind for December 3rd, 2021. An op-ed by Newt Gingrich states, Democrats say they are the party of science, but their drug price plan tells a different story. The Democrats like to present themselves as the party of science, but two recent announcements show just how ignorant they are about how science moves from the lab to our medicine cabinet. The first announcement was results from Pfizer's clinical trial of a new antiviral treatment for COVID-19. The treatment reduced hospital admissions in high-risk individuals by a stunning 90% compared to those receiving a placebo. Even more remarkably, not a single person receiving the treatment died. The second announcement was that Democrats reached an agreement on a measure that would disrupt and ultimately cripple the life sciences investment system that helps make breakthroughs like this possible. The Democrats' destructive proposal would allow Medicare to dictate the price it pays for certain classes of drugs. The Democrats call their price dictation plan negotiation, but like so much of political language, this word choice is a deliberate lie. The arrangement's structure gives the government all the leverage, including a penalty tax of 95% on gross sales of the drug if the manufacturer refuses the government's demand. Democrats should keep in mind that the cardinal rule in medicine is to do no harm. Their proposal fails this test. It would harm patients by starving the drug research and development process of the investment dollars it needs to innovate and develop new treatments and cures, including against future new viruses like COVID-19. We would strongly encourage you to read the full op-ed by clicking on the link in the description below. An article from The Hill reports, Top Democrat announces deal on short-term government spending bill. Top congressional leaders said early on Thursday that they have reached an agreement on a spending deal to fund the government through mid-February as lawmakers work to stave off a shutdown on Friday. House Appropriations Committee Chair Rosa DeLauro said in a statement that an agreement has been reached on a continuing resolution that would temporarily fund the government at the previous year's levels until a larger bipartisan agreement can be reached on spending for the new year. DeLauro said the legislation includes virtually no changes to existing funding or policy in an effort to apply pressure for a larger deal for a spending omnibus in the months ahead. And finally, an op-ed from Senator Bill Hagerty states, Biden's Build Back Better is the very definition of cradle-to-grave, big government dependency. The contrast between the Democrat and Republican visions for America has perhaps never been sharper. Republicans want to put Americans, not the federal government, in control of their lives and families. We want to strengthen the American dream so that more Americans can move up the ladder of success and free themselves from government dependency. Democrats would pull the ladder from aspiring Americans and create a permanent status of government-run mediocrity. Need confirmation? Look no further than the Democrats' explanation for their so-called Build Back Better proposal. The Biden administration is marketing its program to transform the American economy via a cartoon drawing depicting a mom and her son as they encounter the government programs on which they would depend under this plan from the very beginning of their lives to the very end. That is the very definition of cradle-to-grave, big government dependency. Since the Pilgrims landed at Plymouth 400 years ago, America has, above all, promised the freedom to hold your own beliefs, raise your own children, and control your own destiny. This basic guarantee of liberty created the greatest nation in the history of the world. For the last 4 centuries, each American generation has successfully preserved this precious gift for their children and grandchildren against threats both foreign and domestic. Nothing less is demanded of us today. As Americans, we must protect that freedom and reject these massive big government socialist programs. We would strongly encourage you to read the full op-ed by clicking on the link in the description below. And that concludes your Saul's Newsstand News Rewind for December 3rd, 2021. For more political news faster, visit saulsnews.com.